Hello everybody, I'm Chris. Welcome to Lore Aspire. Today we're going to be taking a look at the Arcanist, one of the new classes in Pathfinder Wrath of the Righteous. I'm going to be doing a quick review of the base class and each of its archetypes. I have played the Arcanist class, and I like it a lot. It's probably my favorite of the new caster classes, with the Oracle and Witch being close runner-ups. We do have a character build video for the Phantasmal Mage archetype of the Arcanist that you can check out here if you like. Now let's kick things off with the Arcanist description to get a feel for the class. Some spellcasters seek the secrets of magic, pursuing the power to make the impossible possible. Others are born with magic in their blood, commanding unbelievable forces as effortlessly as they breathe. Yet still others seek to meld the science of arcane scholars with the natural might of innate casters. These Arcanists seek to discover the mysterious laws of magic, and through will and expertise bend those forces to their whims. Arcanists are the shapers and tinkers of the arcane world, and no magic can resist their control. So, the Arcanist is basically a melding of the Wizard and Sorcerer classes with a little Magus thrown in. Like a Wizard, you have to prepare the spells you want to cast each day. Like a Sorcerer, you get a certain number of spell uses per day, and you can cast any of your prepared spells as many times as you like until you have used up your daily allotment. Arcanists have an arcane reservoir that holds a maximum number of arcane points equal to 3 plus their Arcanist level. The points are restored each time they rest at a rate of 3 plus half of the Arcanist's level. Arcanists can spend arcane points either to enhance their spells or to cast arcane exploits, which are basically low power spells that cost arcane points instead of taking up spell slots. Arcanists also get the consume spell ability, which allows them to, as a move action, consume spells to restore a number of points to their arcane reservoir equal to the level of the consumed spell. This ability can be used a number of times per day equal to the Arcanist's charisma modifier, with a minimum of 1 time per day. The primary stat for an Arcanist is of course intelligence, but charisma is an important secondary stat as it determines the number of uses of your consumed spell ability and is also the primary stat used to determine the DC of your arcane exploits. You can see here that the game also recommends dexterity, but as far as I have seen, this is only needed for spells and Arcanist exploits that require a touch attack. I suggest simply avoiding spells and exploits that require you to make a touch attack, since the Arcanist already needs high intelligence and moderately high charisma. So at level 1, the Arcanist has access to cantrips, the arcane reservoir, the consume spell ability, is proficient with simple weapons and nothing else, and can choose one Arcanist exploit. Then at every odd level, an Arcanist can choose another exploit. At 11th level, an Arcanist can begin selecting greater Arcanist exploits, which are just more powerful exploits that have normal Arcanist exploits as a prerequisite. Then, at 20th level, the Arcanist gets the Magical Supremacy ability, which allows them to spend arcane points equal to a spell's level to cast that spell without expending a spell slot. This ability combines nicely with your Consume Spells ability, allowing you to effectively turn your lower level spells into higher level spells. The Arcanist spell progression gives access to second level spells at level 4, and the next level of spells come at each even Arcanist level until you get level 9 spells at the 18th Arcanist level. Alright, now let's get into the archetypes. The first archetype is the Brown Fur Transmuter. Personally, I'm not big on transmutations, but if you are, this could be a great choice for you. This archetype starts the same as the base class. Then at level 3, the Brown Fur Transmuter trades an Arcanist exploit for the powerful change ability, which lets you spend an arcane point to increase the ability score bonus that any transmutation spell would give by 2. So your Bull's Strength Mask could give +6 strength to the whole party instead of just +4. It's not bad actually, certainly better than most Arcanist exploits. Then at 9th level, you trade another exploit for the ability to expend 1 arcane point to change the range of any transmutation spell from personal to touch, effectively allowing you to transform your allies in ways you could normally only transform yourself. And at level 20, you get Transmutation Supremacy instead of Magical Supremacy, which might be a good trade-off. Yeah, I'm really not too sure on this one. Transmutation Supremacy lets you add Reach Meta Magic to your transmutation spells without actually affecting the casting time or the slot used for the spell. So that's cool. It also doubles the bonus of your Powerful Change ability from 2 to 4, and increases the range of your Shared Transmutation ability from touch to close range. Next is the Eldritch Font archetype, and I have to say that this seems to me to be the most powerful of the Arcanist archetypes. It still has almost all of the versatility of the base class and adds significantly more power. The Eldritch Font is definitely the best choice for landing those must-hit spells in tense situations. This archetype starts with an additional ability at level 1, Font of Power. Now this one is a little confusing, so hopefully I can explain it clearly. Font of Power increases by 1 the number of spell slots you have at each Arcanist spell level, but reduces by 1 the number of spells you can prepare at each of those levels. For example, when the base Arcanist class reaches level 4, it can prepare 2 second level spells per day, and can cast those spells a total of 4 times per day. An Eldritch Font at level 4 can only prepare 1 second level spell per day, but can cast a total of 5 second level spells per day. So for each level of spell, you can prepare 1 fewer spells, but can cast a spell of that level 1 more total times. This almost seems like a drawback, since this is going to severely limit access to your most powerful spells. But the saving grace here is that you can use meta magic to turn lower level spells into max level spells and cast those. So through the use of meta magic, you can still access various max level spells, and by level 18 you'll be able to cast 9 extra spells per day. It's confusing and maybe even a little annoying, but overall it's a net gain for the archetype in my opinion. At 3rd level, the Eldritch Font trades an exploit for the Eldritch Surge ability, which allows you as a swift action to increase both the caster level and DC of a spell by 2, or increase your effective Arcanist level by 2 when using an Arcanist exploit. This does not cost points from your arcane reservoir, but does cause you to become fatigued, or if you are already fatigued, you become exhausted. If you are already exhausted, you can't use this ability. This is a powerful ability that could be OP when paired with magic that removes fatigue, or a paladin's lay on hands with the Fatigue Mercy. Then, at 7th level, the Eldritch Font trades another exploit to allow 2 attack rolls for a spell enhanced by Eldritch Surge, and of course you use the highest result. Again, very powerful. At 13th level, Eldritch Surge just keeps getting better. Here the Arcanist trades an exploit to add the ability to force one enemy to roll their saving throw twice and take the worst result against any spell or Arcanist exploit enhanced with Eldritch Surge. At 20th level, the Eldritch Font gets the Bottomless Well ability instead of Magical Supremacy, and I think that this is a great trade-off. Bottomless Well allows the Eldritch Font to prepare new spells and restores 10 arcane points to the arcane reservoir as a full round action once per day. Moving on to the Nature Mage, there isn't really much to say here. The character details show it to be exactly the same as the base Arcanist class. We are still in beta, so maybe this will change by the time the game releases. We'll have to see. Next is the Unlettered Arcanist, which is just the base Arcanist class with a familiar. The description here says that the Unlettered Arcanist is supposed to use the Witch's spell list instead of the Wizard Sorcerer list, but upon comparison the lists are exactly the same. This seems like an oversight that will probably be fixed before the game launches, but if the spell lists stay the same, then the Unlettered Arcanist is slightly better than the base class because of the small buff from the familiar. If they do change the spell list, then the only real reason to go with the Unlettered Arcanist would be if you preferred the Witch's spell list to the Wizard Sorcerer spell list. Now for the White Mage. This archetype has got to be the most versatile, and doesn't sacrifice much for the versatility gained. At 1st level, a White Mage trades its exploit for the Spontaneous Healing ability. Spontaneous Healing allows the Arcanist to spend 1 arcane point to use a spell slot to cast any cure spell from the Cleric list of spells. Also, at 10th level, the White Mage can spend 5 arcane points and use any 5th level or higher spell slot to cast Breath of Life. You also lose your 9th level exploit, but that's it. The rest of the archetype is the same as the base class. The White Mage gives you the luxury of a versatile healer that can effectively crowd control and pump out damage. Last, we have the Phantasmal Mage, and while the Eldritch font seems to clearly be the most powerful, and the White Mage is probably the most versatile, the Phantasmal Mage archetype is my favorite. Again, we have a character build for the Phantasmal Mage complete with backstory and mythic path that you can check out here if you like. My very first Pathfinder character, about a decade ago, was a gnome illusionist, which is probably why I have such a fond disposition towards the Phantasmal Mage. Anyway, the Phantasmal Mage probably differs the most from the base Arcanist class. First off, you have to be a gnome to be a Phantasmal Mage. Second, you actually lose the option to spend arcane points to increase your caster level for your spells. But you can still spend arcane points to increase the DC of your spells. This does kinda suck, but by mid-game I found that I was mostly casting illusion spells anyways, and illusion spells benefit a lot more from higher DCs than from higher caster levels. At 5th level, the Phantasmal Mage trades an Arcanist exploit for the ability to spend 1 Arcanist point to add the extended, selective, or reach metamagics to an illusion spell as a free action. Then, at 11th level, the Phantasmal Mage trades an Arcanist exploit for the ability to spend 2 arcane points to add the persistent or empowered metamagics to any illusion spell as a free action. At 17th level, the Phantasmal Mage trades an Arcanist exploit for the ability to spend 3 arcane points to add the maximized or quickened metamagics to an illusion spell as a free action. You may be thinking, big deal, I could add metamagic with wands or feats without losing the exploits. The real power here though is that you don't have to prepare these spells with metamagics, so they don't have to take up a higher level spell slot. This allows you to quicken a level 8 illusion spell, whereas normally you couldn't because the level increase would be too great. Then, at 20th level, the Phantasmal Mage trades magical supremacy for metamagic supremacy. Again, I like this trade-off. Metamagic supremacy reduces the cost of your metamagic abilities by 1 arcane point. This allows you to literally add metamagic to every single illusion spell that you cast.
I really hope that this helped everyone better understand the Arcanist class. Please like and subscribe, and let us know in the comments what you think of the Arcanist and its archetypes. Do you agree that the Eldritch font is the most powerful? That the White Mage is the most versatile? Or did we get it wrong and you prefer one of the other archetypes? Let us know. And be sure to check back with us because we'll be bringing you many more character builds, guides, and playthroughs for Pathfinder Wrath of the Righteous. This has been Chris with Lorespire. We'll see you next time.